Hey, what's going on, Seminole Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with DoakTalk. Of course, I am your host. We are in the midst of preseason fall camp, and something along the lines of a tradition for FSU the last few years. The team has went over to Jacksonville, Florida, and spent a few days at the University of North Florida practicing at their facilities, building team camaraderie and things like that. Just getting away from Tallahassee and going to the University of North Florida and having like 3 or so practices. I want to give you guys some updates in regards to what went down the last few days over in Jacksonville, Florida. Had a few sources that were at practice just to see what the Seminoles brought to the table in Jacksonville, kind of building on for the 2025 season. Before we get started and jump into the meat of this and get into the information that was given to me, make sure you guys grab your tailgate ticket for the Alabama game. I'm not sure what the hell you guys are waiting on, but the tickets are going pretty fast, so don't wait till the last minute. Grab your ticket now. It's going to be a star-studded event. Me, former FSU fullback James Coleman, and former FSU All-World receiver Peter Warwick are teaming up in regards to the tailgate for this Alabama game. So go ahead and lock in your ticket. We're going to have all you can eat, all you can drink, and we're going to be streaming the games as well. Go ahead and grab your ticket to the best tailgate smoking in Tallahassee, Florida. All right, let's jump right into it and kind of get in and get in the meat of what was told to me. I'm going to break it up in offense and defense. Just want to preface this. We'll start off by saying the entire Jags front office was at practice, which is an interesting sign. We know the Jags are, of course, Jacksonville based, but they have the entire front office at practice. Shows that they're looking for certain, I guess you could say, aspects within the team and like a certain player or players within the team. I want to evaluate them a little further. Just want to throw that little tidbit out there. All right, let's jump right into it. And the sources that I spoke to were at both was at all three practices and said it was kind of interesting in regards to the dynamic of practice and how the offense had the upper hand in one practice and the defense responded and had the upper hand in the next practice. For me personally, I love to hear that as far as the battle going one way or the other, depending on the day of practice. It shows that both offense and defense has playmakers on both sides of the balls, and also both are competing and trying to get better within the next day. If you have a bad day the previous day, you come out the next day and do your thing and try to redeem yourself and things like that. So it's a lot of healthy competition within the team, especially offense and defense going back and forth. So I did like to hear that in regards to each unit or each individual, once I get into the meat of it, having their day. I will start off with the quarterbacks, and of course Thomas Castellano. This was a direct quote from a person at practice. They said he's pretty much baby Colin Murray, when it comes to playmaking and running the ball and things like that. Now he had a few underthrows that in regards to he had a few underthrows to the receivers that were moving downfield, like Square White, big time playmaker, fast receiver. We want to get to those guys in a second, but I'm not sure if that's something we should be worried about or too concerned about in regards to pushing the football down the field consistently on deep balls. That's something that is a staple within Gus Malzahn's offense in regards to, of course, establishing the run and taking your shots down the field. But I do think we'll be good in the long run. That was just something that they threw as far as he had a few underthrows to some deep routes. As you guys know, Brock Glenn is currently down with an injury. He hasn't been practicing the last few days, as Mike Norvell stated. So you have a lot of young guys behind Thomas Castellano getting reps. Sperry was up and down. True freshman Sperry was up and down within the portion of Jacksonville. Those few days in Jacksonville showed some good things and showed some bad things. And I'm not going to say bad things. Showed some true freshman things in regards to making correctable errors and things like that. An interesting one is a guy that's, like I said, getting reps due to Brock Glenn being down is Jalen King. He is the transfer quarterback from East Tennessee State, if I'm not mistaken. Said that he looked pretty good in regards to moving the ball and things like that. King could be he's going to probably be a key scout team quarterback for FSU this year, but moving on in the future, he could be a decent part of the depth chart. But he did state that Jalen King looked pretty good. And this was a caveat as well. As far as one of the people that were at practice stated, they thought the offense looked better than what they thought they would be coming into the practice. Not sure what their expectation was coming into practice, but that's a very good thing to hear that, they did surpass those expectations. First team offensive line looked pretty damn good. The second team offensive line has some flashes as well at certain points. There's some players on the second team that could be players for FSU in the future, so that's a good thing. But we do finally have that initial offensive line group healthy across the board, and those guys have been playing pretty good football. Like Gus Malzahn stated, FSU is kind of behind the 8 ball as far as continuity and things like that due to those guys not being fully available in the spring. So we're kind of trying to press and speed things up within fall camp to get that camaraderie and have that mesh going within the offensive line. All right, let's talk about the receivers. I think it's safe to say now that number 0, number 4, and number 15 will be your top 3 receivers. There's Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, and Elijah Moore. I'm sorry, Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, and Boggs, the true freshman. He's been making a lot of plays. He's been Mr. Consistent to say the least. He has strong hands, very, very reliable when catching the ball, and he just knows how to get open. He's just a damn football player. Nothing else I need to say about Boggs. I mean, I've been writing off the numbers on this show. It's kind of sound like a broken record in regards to what he's done in high school, and that shit had just transitioned over to college as he's been a big time playmaker for FSU. I think he's going to be an elite player by the time when it's all said and done. During his time at FSU, he will be an elite player. Deuce Robinson, this kid has flashed a lot. He stated he pretty much is unstoppable on the first day of practice in Jacksonville. They couldn't really do anything with him. He's also, they said he's a red zone problem as well, meaning, we get inside the 20, pretty much kind of how the Kelvin Benjamin days, and I wish we used Johnny Wilson a little bit more in better situations in regards to that. We used it with Keon Coleman a little bit as well, too. Once we get in the red zone, it's a matchup night. It's a matchup mismatch, I should say, with Deuce and whoever's covering him. So we're going to take that shot within the red zone and giving him that one-on-one opportunity to make a play. Elijah Moore is another kid that's been making some plays as well. I was very high on Elijah Moore coming out of recruiting cycle 2 years ago out of the Maryland, D.C., Washington, D.C. area. Needed to develop, and I think he's starting to come within his own right and continue to get better and better. The sky's the limit for this kid as far as an upside standpoint. If he could come around and be the receiver for FSU, I think we have a formidable group within the top 4. And Squirrel White, he's another kid that's been making a lot of plays, finally healthy within fall camp, was nicked up a little bit in the spring. The speed is blazing, man. He made a lot of plays, a lot of big-time plays for FSU within the days at Jacksonville. You like what you saw at the Squirrel White, the speed, catching the ball, making plays in space and things like that. Randy Pittman looked pretty good as well. He's a kid that's going to be an explosive tight end, H-back type of player. Gus Malzahn does a very good job moving him around and just creating those matchup problems, because he is a matchup problem himself. So you want to get certain matchups on defense to expose it, and Pittman does a good job in his role. He's physical as well, too. He doesn't mind sticking his nose in there and getting pretty chippy. Jalen Lucas, he's a guy that's going to have a role in the offense as well. Explosive, pretty much, man. They also say he's like a cheat code, returning kicks and returning punts. You guys remember at Indiana, he was an All-American punt returner at Indiana. I think he was the Big Ten returner of the year one of his years at Indiana as well. Has the kick return record for touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, at Indiana. So he's an explosive playmaker. Hell, even last year for FSU, one of the few bright spots was Jalen Lucas, even though it was a short sample size due to him getting hurt early in the season. But you look back at the Georgia Tech game and things like that, Lucas made a lot of plays for FSU. So he's going to be an interesting piece of the offense. Look for him to have a very big role. Usman Promo, I mean, what can I say? The hype is real. He's good as advertised. This kid's a big-time playmaker. One person told me in regards to that was at practice, like, this kid is it. He has it all. He's going to be one of those ones at FSU. He's an elite. He has the potential to be an elite running back. And this person here played in the backfield themselves during the days at FSU, so they know one or two things about what it looks like at the running back position, and they like what it looks like with Promont. This kid is dynamic, to say the least. FSU really got I think they have 2 stars on offense that's ready to contribute right now within the 2025 season. So, yeah, Cromar's definitely going to have a role within the offense. And Minerva had a direct quote when asked about Cromar, pretty much said it's real. The hype is real. All right, guys, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. And like I said, it was one day the offense pretty much had control. The next day the defense came out and was locking shit down, strapping the offense across the board. It was one quote that I got that these guys pretty much blanketed the receivers on day 2, kind of, I guess, responding to what they had to what went down on day 1 in regards to the receivers having upper hand. Jabril Ross, he's a kid that's been consistently good within fall camp, making a lot, well, not just fall camp, spring practice, summer to fall camp, making a lot of plays for FSU. He's going to be the likely starter at the other cornerback position, in my opinion, but he looked pretty good out there. Jeremiah Wilson. So it's interesting because Jeremiah Wilson, the receivers got the best of Jeremiah Wilson on day 1. I think Deuce had a few plays on him. But then the second day of practice, Jeremiah Wilson was locked down. Didn't give up a catch. Really physical. The DBs couldn't get no separation. This was a direct quote as well from someone that was at camp in regards to Jeremiah Wilson. He's a Sunday type of player. This is a kid that will be playing on Sundays. Uh, his short area quickness, changing to direction, breaking on balls, instincts, eye coordination, eye discipline, all the things you want that in regards to a cornerback to make plays in a zone type of system. He has that. Jeremiah Wilson's the big time playmaker for FSU. Was one of the most important gets within the spring transfer portal cycle. Amari Williams was a guy that stood out as well. Of course, he's been playing both ways, but they stated he looked better at the edge position versus tight end, and that's not knocking taking anything from his tight end. I just thought myself, period, coming in when he enrolled to FSU, he'll be suited better as a defensive end, edge rusher for FSU. Explosive, hell of an athlete. Of course, he's going to play both ways for FSU this upcoming year. This one was interesting and made me excited a little bit. Ashlyn Barker, who's a kid I've been rooting for to kind of get more plays and things like that, because every time he steps on the field, first of all, he's very physically imposing from a safety standpoint, 6'3", around 215 pounds. But the limited reps he's had at FSU, it's been pretty productive reps. He's done some really good things. So it's good to see him getting talked about more. He's inserting himself in the rotation, and he's starting to make some plays, which is good for FSU's depth chart. Really, I mean, you look at the prototypical safety, he has it. Charles Lester had a really good few days in Jacksonville, was making a lot of plays in 7-on-7. This is what you'd like to hear, right? FSU was very high on that cornerback class of Charles Lester, Jamari Howard, Kai Bates, and things like that. Those guys were highly recruited and came in with a lot of hype for FSU. So for those guys to, I guess you could say, take turns making plays within the fall camp is a good thing from a depth standpoint, meaning we have some young guys that are coming along and they can contribute for FSU within the season, meaningful reps when it matters. Omar Graham and C.J. Cryer, Juice Cryer look pretty good at the linebacker position, and also Elijah Herring. Those guys has looked really good at the linebacker position. D-Jack, of course, is what else needs to be said. He's the leader on the defense, the leader on the defensive line. He looked good as well too. So to wrap things up, pretty much I guess you could say, combination of everything I heard with what I've been seeing, well, with the people that was out in Jacksonville at practice, is I think the team is going to be pretty good. The team is going to be pretty good. It's going to be probably better than expected. It's going to shock some people. I'm not saying they're going to win the ACC championship or anything along those lines. I think it's 6.5 or 7.5 as far as the over or under for wins. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the over within this team if everyone stays healthy. Really good mix. The people at the fall practice up in Jacksonville, they were pretty impressed and like what they saw and took away some good things. Now, if we can continue to build on that, of course, this is week 2 or a fall camp. FSU has a scrimmage the second scrimmage in Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday, August the 10th. So, of course, if we could build on that and continue to get better, and the main thing, knock on wood, stay healthy, I think we'll be fine. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We'll have more quick hitters coming from you in the future. Go Noles.